Hey guys, it's CarGuy11. We're here tonight for a live stream. Just came back from the LA Auto Show, so definitely want to talk about that. And of course, two major introductions there, both vehicles that I'm very interested in, Corvettes and Jeeps, of course. So we're definitely going to talk about those two, and then any others anyone wants to talk about and bring up. There were a lot of SUVs, of course. None or most not very exciting. And there were a couple specialty sports cars too, from Saleen and a couple others that I actually never heard of. So maybe we can talk about those as well. But for anyone joining in, I see JA's here. Hey, what's up, JA? Thanks for joining. Definitely chime in. Tell us who's online. Ask your questions in the chat, and definitely want to hear your opinions on these vehicles as well. And for those listening and playing back, you can also hear the podcast on iTunes. Just search for CarGuy11 on iTunes, and you can listen to it in your car, whatever you want to do, going to work, instead of having to watch the video. So other than that, I got two guests tonight. You guys will probably recognize both of them. First, we have Autonut, who's been with us many times on different live streams. How's it going, Autonut?
Pretty good.
And then I have Tom Gear here, who actually joined me in LA at the show. So his first media day auto show. What'd you think, Tom? How'd you like the media day events compared to the public days?
Do I have to be politically correct? I'm guessing the answer is yes. I liked it. You're with adults. They wine and dine you quite literally, and no kids. So it was a good first experience.
Yeah, and it's one thing. This is only my second media day. Last year I attended Chicago with Autonut, and one thing I could say, the difference, there were way more media in LA compared to Chicago, which actually made it kind of tough to get video, to get pictures. It was tough because there were so many people. Now you could always go later and view the vehicles, but the other thing I didn't like so much, it was so spread out. There were multiple halls in the LA Convention Center, so you're like walking back and forth to the different press conferences, and it was a lot of walking, and it was tough to find all of the.
We forgot to powder up that day.
Yeah, we were getting our exercise in for sure.
Little chafing going on.
Yeah, sure.
Forgot your chassis, Under Armour chassis or whatever it is.
And the food wasn't as good. Chicago.
Oh, it's awful. Nissan. I mean, it was the worst box lunch I think I've ever had. Plus, it was Mexican food, which does not agree with me one bit. I mean, it was awful.
It wasn't awful, but it was. It wasn't as. The Chicago, like pretty much every stand had snacks at least, and then food at many of them, and then the lunches and breakfasts were like sit down. So that was. But again, maybe it's because there's so many there in so many media in LA that it would be hard to, have it for everyone. But overall, my opinion, I actually like Chicago better. I'm not talking about the cars, but just the media portion. So we'll see. Maybe we'll try to go to these other ones like Detroit and New York. I haven't been to either. So, but anyway, definitely want to talk about some of the major car introductions. And of course, there was the Corvette ZR1. Now, it was debuted in Dubai, the coupe version, and in LA they debuted the convertible version, and they actually, Chevy didn't have a press conference. It was strange, but they had them both on display.
I thought they had the press conference the night before.
Yeah, it wasn't open.
It was a media event or something. It was.
Yeah, it wasn't open to like the general, I guess, media. Maybe a private showing or something. And you know, actually, we weren't there the night before, so I don't know. Maybe it was something that was invitation only or something. But yeah, they didn't have a actual press conference at the show. So, but if you wanted to bring up some of the pictures on it, we can talk about it a little bit, see what everybody thinks. Oh, and Jay asked, did you see the announcement live stream I did last week? Just wondering. No, I didn't see it, Jay. Yeah, we were in LA, so I'm not sure what announcement you have, but you can let us know. If anybody else wants to chime in on the Corvette ZR1, definitely in the comments. I see we have several watching now.
I have the picture up, but it's not showing.
Okay. Oh, I gotta flip over. There it is. That's the coupe. If you could find, I don't know if there's a picture of the convertible, but it was that same color, that bright orange, and that is a new color for 2019. There's the orange, and I believe that gray is also new. It's the probably a little bit darker gray than the current one, but yeah, that's the convertible. Yeah, it's a beast of a car. You could see in the picture the cutout in the hood. It's totally cut out. If you open the hood, there's a hole in the hood. So this is the actual top of the engine where that carbon fiber piece is, and that's the top of the blower. So so it's that high. It's a 2.65 liter blower, which is like 50% larger than the current Z06. Yep, that's the hood there.
It also, when you take the hood up, it actually hides most of the engine, like the
yeah, there is a cover, yeah, as well that does hide the valve covers and stuff.
This pictures aren't working well. There we go.
And then the other thing is, yeah, see how it extends over. The other thing is underneath the hood, it's all polished carbon fiber, and there's no hood liner. So it's all exposed polished carbon fiber underneath the hood, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty odd. Usually it's just the, you know, they don't clean it up at all. They don't epoxy it or anything or polish
Yep.
it.
It's like that. It's just like that. The top of the engine, how it's shiny and polished. Yeah. That's how the under and there's tons of carbon fiber on this car, like on the steering wheel. I think there's a picture of the steering wheel there on it. And then, yep. And there's that shiny carbon fiber all throughout the interior on the dash. And also there's a lot of that, inside it's all Alcantara, the steering wheel, the shifter, the door sills, and the passenger side as well. So they definitely dressed it up. It's not your typical just Z06. It's definitely has a lot more cosmetics as well, and of course there's the huge wing on the back, and that is an option. That's a performance package, but we did see the
not that good one bit. I mean, it's just way too big. Yeah, it's fully adjustable, but I think it's just too. I think for a track it would be great, but if you take it off for the road, then then you have holes right in the deck lids. So I think for most people that are going to be buying this are probably not going to be tracking it, and to have that large wing, it just seems kind of pointless. And there is a smaller one, but I don't know if we have pictures of that, but I don't like it either, quite honestly.
What's goofy is it's tacked onto the back on top of another spoiler. Yep, right there. That is goofy.
Yeah, it's like a spoiler and a wing kind of mated together.
It's very solid though. I had my hands on there. I wanted to feel it. And yeah, it's definitely solid. It's just it's a little goofy, that part, and definitely would be hard to fit put anything in a cargo area, especially with the big wing. The small wing's still big though. But
yeah, you'd have to go through the sides or something. You wouldn't be able to go through the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing about sorry.
I was just going to say, the one thing that was nice, it seemed to be pretty easy to adjust. It was all Allen head bolts, right? So just loosen them up, adjust them how you need. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an expert on aerodynamics, but I would assume that you would raise it up in the back for more downforce.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, that's yet another thing to tweak and mess with that I think for some people they would enjoy, but for others they may not ever mess with it.
Well, that's a perfect segue into what I was starting to say was what level of ability are you going to be to understand the feeling of having a couple 100 pounds more downforce when you're only going 150 miles an hour plus? You know what I mean? It's like that perfect storm. I really don't think I'd even notice the difference. You could take the wing off and I could do Road America and put it back on. I don't think I'd notice the difference. So I wonder, like, what level of driver expertise is going to actually notice this? Is this basically for show for people, unless you're a proper driver?
Well, that is a good point. But, there is 755 horsepower to deal with. So
yeah, but it doesn't start kicking in until well over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. I don't know. With that big a wing, it probably does kick in, before 100 mile an hour.
I'm sure it does something, right? I mean, as soon as wind's going over it, I agree. But 25 pounds, 50 pounds, I mean, they're rating it. I think they rated it at 180 miles an hour. It gave that much downforce, or maybe it was even higher. So I don't know. Sort of weird to me.
What tracks are normal people going to get up to that speed on?
Exactly. I mean, look, your car you guys, at Pit Race, which is a fairly quick track, what are you barely getting to 130? So maybe this car will get to like 145. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to do 170 on that track.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, as we all know, it all comes down to, are you working with some grapefruits and how brave are you? Sometimes it's not about the car. A lot of times it all comes down to the driver. And I think, only a professional driver is probably going to fully take advantage of that ridiculous thing they pulled on the back of it. I don't like the wheels it came with.
Really?
They look weird. And Terry, they look so much different in person.
Really?
It does. It looks different in person. But I really love the fact that they got rid of the stupid little plastic strip for the front fenders instead of actually widening like with the Z06.
Yeah.
Added a plastic strip for the wider wheels. They actually have wider fenders now with the ZR1. So they don't have a stupid plastic piece that
it covers, makes it wider.
Like they did with the old C6 Z06. They just made a wider fender for a wider tire. Yeah. They finally did it with the ZR1 with the C7, but not with the Z06. And that's like my biggest issue with that Z06. Cool car, but it has the stupid plastic flap.
Yep.
Right. Matt Rosenthal.
And real quick, what's funny about that is they even did a wider fender too. It's a wider fender than the regular one. It's a wide body, yet they didn't go just a little bit wider. I don't understand the mentality behind that one at all. I mean, if they had to make another fender.
I'm actually not 100% sure on that. For the current Z06, I believe actually uses the Stingray front fender. this what they added, that they tacked that little piece on to make it wider. I know the rear is definitely wider, but the front, I'm pretty sure, is just the regular.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's the same front and it's a different rear. So,
yeah. What's the front tire, like a 285?
285. 285 in the front.
I mean, your car is 245 and it fits nice, so that's hard to believe.
I put spacers on mine too, though. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus different wheels, a different offset, etc. So,
yeah.
But it's always been that way with the Z06 and ZR1s. They're usually the front tires are usually the size of the stock base rears, and then the rears are always 325 or 335, depending. So,
let's get to one of the comments. Matt Rosenthal said the Viper ACR is better. It's the fastest manual car to lap the Nürburgring. That is true, and
it costs a hell of a lot more. Sorry.
Well, yeah. The ACR is what, closer to 150. I don't even know if it's that much, but the point I have to make about that is it's not a daily driver car at all. I mean, not that the Corvette's a daily driver, but I mean, it's not comfortable. The ACR is a race car, and that's it.
Says the 2017 started at 118.
Oh, so it is the same price then. Okay. But
I'm very shocked about that too. I thought for sure it was like 130.
Well,
maybe it's one of those ones where they say it's 118, but you can't ever spec it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say the options add a significant amount. Plus, let's not forget, it's not available anymore.
That's true.
You cannot buy a new Viper.
But my point is, it's not going to be nearly as comfortable. It's a one trick pony. It's a race car, and that's it. Where the Corvette, you could still run it on the street with the mag ride, and it has all the amenities inside and stuff like that. But the other part I want to talk about is the styling, the front end. I wasn't thrilled with the front end. It's a little goofy. Now, they did it because of the intercoolers. They added 2 more intercoolers in those large openings to cool the supercharger, and it looks a little goofy to me. I don't know if you had that picture up there still. I don't know, but
I'm sorry, I got caught with this Ovo Cash TV. It caught my attention. Which vehicle are we talking about?
the ZR1 front end of it.
Yeah, let me just screenshot again.
Oh, by the way, Matt, you can't have a Viper convertible either.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah,
click it.
There it is. Let me push it on there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm giving away 3 iPhones. Get the hell out of here.
That's the one I was talking about.
Damn China.
I can remove it or block.
Oh, it's gone.
I removed it.
Car Guy, now we're not going to have the opportunity to win 3 iPhones. What were you doing that for?
Oh, wow.
Anyway, what were you saying about the front end?
No, the front end to me is a little goofy, in my opinion.
It's some rip-off of the Ferrari, just like the headlights, just like everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You can definitely see they took that and built off of it.
Yeah, if you look at it from certain angles, it kind of has some styling cues from the F430. If I might get the model wrong, but I like the wide fenders, but I don't like the grille design. I would have rather have seen it being almost one contiguous piece for the opening, instead of having kind of 3 separate mouths.
Really? That's a lot of grille.
Yeah, that would be all grille then.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'd have to see that.
Make it as wide, but just have it one,
Speaking of all grille, I don't know if there's the there's the new DB9 or it's the DB9, right? The Aston
Oh,
Martin.
no. V8 Vantage.
Oh, V8 Vantage. Yes.
Yeah, don't even get me that. I'm so incredibly disappointed with how that car. It looks like it looks like a Miata, and it's certainly not priced like a Miata.
Is that on there?
The grill,
the
grill is the standard.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
Vantage Aston Martin grill, but its eyes are so tiny. I mean, it just doesn't look. It's like they started styling it from the back, and when they got to the front, they ran out of money.
Yes, the back looks awesome. The front and the side, I don't like their side vents either. But you know what? I don't know. It wasn't actually at the show. It was in a specialty dealer collection because Aston wasn't at the show. So it may not be in the pictures you have there.
So it was Gelpin is a big dealer down there, and they're the guys that made the Gelpin rocket. So we actually got to see Gelpin rocket too, which was awesome. But they had one of Gelpin's many dealerships is Aston Martin, so they actually had one on display. So it was. We took photos of it, but you can look online. It looks awful from the front. It's sad.
Yeah, it's all grill and like two small headlights.
I think I got this one. Let me bring it up. Oh shoot!
But if anybody else have any comments on the ZR1, what do you guys think of the pricing as well? So they announced the pricing is $120.
Is this seriously Is this seriously it?
That's not it.
That is not it.
But yeah, what do you guys think of the pricing for the ZR1? So it's $120 for the coupe and $123, I think, or no, $125 for the convertible. So it's not cheap either. But we got a couple more comments. Luke says good pricing for what you get. It is. I mean, it's 755 horsepower. It's more horsepower than the Hellcat.
This is where
1,000 pounds lighter.
This is where we're going to really disagree. I think that's the biggest ripoff ever. I think it's ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah.
Well, Terry, what's your opinion on the C6 ZR1? Not current pricing on it, but when it was new.
It was really expensive, but if you compare it to what was out there at the time, it was exponentially bigger, in my opinion.
Because the Z06 was only at 500 horsepower,
and it wasn't forced induction. There was just a lot of different things to that vehicle. I don't know all the specifics, but I still thought that was overpriced per se. But I mean, the braking system. I mean, I don't think that's when they first offered the carbon fiber. I don't think that was offered in the Z06. There was just a lot of different details like that I sort of remember.
Kenny says would rather spend the 10 to 20K in mods and make 800 plus horsepower. One thing though,
that I actually looked into. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, one thing I was going to say about the Z06 that already has some heat soak issues, and when you're spinning the supercharger faster, or I'm sure that's one of the mods you're talking in this 10 to 20K. It's even going to have more heat issues. So they said that the ZR1 is the supercharger spinning slower than the Z06, and they have like so many more intercoolers as well. So if you're going to do tracking with it, track driving, then you definitely you're going to want to be careful with boosting your supercharger like that.
Like he's saying though, $10,000 to $20,000 can buy you a couple heat exchangers. It can buy you a whole new supercharger. It can buy you a lot of different things. And the only thing I saw that was fairly pricey is they replaced the crank. I mean, we'll find out more details later. They never tell you everything that's changed. But the one thing they did admit was they have a new crankshaft. So, I mean, that's pulling the engine completely apart at that point. So, you know, that's some money there. And who knows what other details they did.
Port and fuel direct injection, which is cool. I'm glad they brought that back.
Did you see that article? Wasn't that an old Lexus, like in the early 2000s, I think? I think it was a Lexus or somebody was the first to do that in a production vehicle.
Yeah, Toyota I think they did. Yeah.
I just love how technology comes out like early, just like the F-150 or the old Silverado with the all-wheel steer, you know, and now all of a sudden they're talking about it now with pickup trucks, and it's like, oh, it's so revolutionary. It was done like 20 years ago, but nobody liked it.
Actually, the 2018 Mustang also has the port and fuel injection, or port and direct injection in the new 5.0. So, yeah. I think they're finally realizing that, you know, the carbon buildup on the direct injection engines, you know.
That's a great point.
Jay said, did you search LA Auto Show Vantage?
Yeah, a couple of them came up. There's some YouTube pictures and stuff, but do you want to see that again, or?
Yeah. While we're, I guess. Oh, I should switch that. Okay, and then let's see. Luke says, "Well, if I would only get it, if I was going to track a vet. Otherwise, I would go to the Z06 and do some bolt-ons." Yeah, agreed there.
Is this actually the vehicle?
Yeah, that's it.
Really?
Yep, that's the exact photo.
Yep, that is. Yeah, that was. It actually. Wow. Yeah, it's a huge grill.
That last picture almost looked half decent, but then when you get that real straight on look, holy hell!
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, bring up one of the rear photos though; it looks completely different.
Yeah, the rear is beautiful. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, it's sharp. Heavy diffuser down there and stuff.
Yeah, again, it's like they ran out of money. They started from the back and they ended up the front. They're like, oh shit, what the hell are we gonna do? Oh, let's just make it look like a Miata with a DB9 grille.
Jeez.
Let's see.
I could almost get over the headlights and the grille. I can't get over the hood. The hood is just, I mean, there's hardly any.
There's no features, which is hilarious because the previous generation V Advantage, which by the way is a vehicle I love and I'd love to have. It has, you know, heat extractors in the grille and you know, bulges and stuff. I mean, it looks, especially with the V12 version.
I think this color isn't exactly doing good for them either. I mean, a darker
color. No, not one bit.
It's like baby puke yellow. I mean, what the hell? It's a very interesting color. It's a dull yellow. I never liked it.
I think that's the photo. It was
better than that.
Shiny in person, but yeah, yellow is not an Aston Martin color. Let's be honest. Or yellow in general. I don't think yellow really works on any car.
There we go. There's silver.
Yeah, that's a little better looking.
But even the side profile towards the rear is better. You're right, Tom. It's like the front end is completely a different vehicle.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, did you see the side vent? It's like a dull black, matte black. Oh, it's not on that one. That picture. Look at the yellow one. The yellow picture. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I wonder what that was. A little perforated black thing. That's
looks like it's tacked on there or something. But okay, let's get a couple more comments here. Andy B says ZR1 is overpriced and overdone. If you've already have a Z06 or a C7, you could send it off to Callaway and have your car built better and more horsepower than a ZR1. Callaway charges a lot, though.
Yes, they
do. So I'm not sure exactly the figures, but it's not cheap for sure for any of those, you know, known brands. Let's see. Swap the blower. Luke says, like Street Speed 717, he has a CO6 that has a ton of bolt-ons and put a lot of work into his vet, but he's going to trade it in for a ZR1.
Well, because that's his business. I mean, he's about getting the newest and greatest, even if it's better or worse, right?
Yeah,
Let's change the subject.
And also, he could not do road racing. I mean, that's a drag car he's building, but I don't think his car is going to hold up to a road course.
And I think that's one thing that people, and I say it's overpriced, but the one thing I got to keep in mind also is the fact that GM said we threw literally everything we knew at it. So that means that it's going to do great on the track, drag strip, you know, all of it. I think it's like going to be the most balanced vehicle. They could do 1,000 horsepower engine or something and make it a quarter-mile king, but that wasn't the goal, right? It was supposed to be an all-around sports car, and it'll be interesting as time goes on to see how this car performs with all those, you know, all those different scenarios. And I think that's where you're going to see some of the money probably.
Right. Jay says, I think Mike's getting the ZR1 only because it's the newest stuff and people want to see it. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Makes money. He makes money on all the videos. So
lots of money.
It looks funny in the front.
Subject change, please.
Matt likes the Vantage looks. Matt Rosenthal.
I do too, from every angle but the front.
Puke yellow. Haha.
Is that like the final draft? I mean, are they going to? Is it still considered a?
That's the car because that was a dealer.
Jeez.
That had it. So.
Yeah. So this is what I've been saying. This is the last great decade of cars. I think this is definitely. We have so much evidence to prove that. All the stupid hybrids and electrics coming out. Now look at the cars that were always beautiful. The Aston Martin was always known for its beauty, and now it looks like crap, at least from a couple angles. What you need to do now is go out and buy the current or previous generation Aston Martin V8 Vantage for 50, 60 grand used, hand-built car.
And you can get it in a manual.
Reliable, but it's going to be beautiful and it's going to turn heads.
And you can get it in a manual.
Absolutely, you can get it in a manual.
But not the new one.
Fact about
wait, did they say the new one?
I don't know about the drivetrain. That's the one thing we couldn't get access to that car to even look at it other than from a distance. I'd be curious about the drivetrain. I know the previous generation, you could hear that car from 2 miles away if you had the valves opened up in the exhaust. So, you know, it's a wonderful car. I'd love to have one day.
So they probably just had to start completely over since Ford stole all their styling cues, and this is the best they could come up with.
Matt also says the V8 Vantage color is a result of that green effect. It was on their extreme. It was spotlights, and then it had the green behind it. So yeah, it might have looked weird with that. To see it outside. Ken K, wondering how many ZR1s will be built over what time period. I did hear that they are not going to limit the production on them. I think they're just going to sell as many as people want to buy.
The Rob Spaghetti theory?
Yeah.
They'll limit it, build them, and just see what people buy. That's funny.
The big question is, though, how many years is it going to be? Is it only going to be a 2019? Or is it are they going to continue it into a 2020?
What happened with the C6?
That was several years because it came out in what 2009.
Yeah, yep. 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013. It ended.
Well, yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, several years. So there's two theories out there that when the C8 starts, which is supposed to be next year, you know, they're only going to produce C8, or the other theory is they're going to have the mid-engine C8 alongside the C7. So
Terry, Marco already knows this, but I'm very strongly considering getting a ZR1, a C6 ZR1, Blue Devil to be precise.
Yeah. Blue?
Yep, the Blue Devil.
It's funny because when I was buying my GTO, actually, they had one in the showroom, and they had like another Shelby Mustang or something, and the Shelby Mustang was going for like the same price as the Blue Devil was, and I was like, people would have to be nuts, and they're like, yeah. And I was looking at car over again, and it's a pretty cool car. I can't. I hope you get it. Actually, I think it's pretty.
I test drove one a few months ago here in Pittsburgh.
Did you really?
Yeah, I used one. Unfortunately, it was priced wonderfully. But the problem was
a little bit. It was priced wonderfully for a reason.
Yeah, so it came from Texas, and the dashboard had to be, the leather was all ruined from the sun.
Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, we were looking at a couple grand at least and taking the dashboard apart.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What are they going for? Still in the 60s?
Well, that one was at 53.
Okay.
And they're it has carbon fiber splitters, carbon fiber side skirt things. They were all damaged, and that's, as you can imagine, very expensive to do. And they were willing to move a little bit on the price, and they were even willing to help get it repaired. But if I'm spending that kind of money, I want it to be turnkey, roll it right off, plus, it's end of the year, end of the season at the time. I didn't feel like spending all that money and then waiting, keep it in the garage. So
Luke says that color reminds him of the M4. Yeah, M4 has that weird yellow color, but this is more of a yellow than that. That's more of a goldish. Jay says only car I like in yellow is the C706. And then Kenny 1111150 says you guys got to check out Z061's YouTube channel Pro Charger setup. So he took the blower off and put a Pro Charger on. That's surprising. I'm not sure why you do that.
I mean, I can understand going turbos, but I don't understand the benefit of going to a Pro Charger over. I'd rather change out the supercharger and open up the hood or something,
Right. And again, I don't think he's road course racing it. I mean, that's gonna be a lot of heat. The front looks like a baby DB10.
I looked that up actually. I was sort of curious because I couldn't picture it, and I see a little similarity, but that looks beautiful. The DB10 is elegant looking, sleek looking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Not to change the subject, but I thought the Lincoln rollout is fantastic. If I was in the market for a luxury car, I think Lincoln, from a luxury perspective, has Cadillac beat, hands down. Yeah, Lincoln doesn't have a sports car like Cadillac does, but we sat in a Navigator Black Edition. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, it was this beautiful light blue that reminded me of my Porsche. It had baby blue leather that was quilted. The seats adjusted. You could adjust the seats in so many different combinations. It was unbelievable. Yeah. The cluster was, all digital, and it displayed a Starfield, like when it was off, or you had the radio on. The radio was awesome. Clearly not a vehicle that I'm interested in, but
I agree. I think Lincoln is doing the luxury side better. Not the performance side, though. The luxury side, the interiors, the styling, the materials are.
I mean, comparing great. What model to what model? Are you comparing that?
Well, like say the Escalade to the Navigator, or like the Continental to the CTS.
I was highly let down with that Continental. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I mean, if I was looking at buying an Escalade today, I would skip over it and go right to the Navigator all day.
Did you guys sit in like the platinum? Or what's the highest one? Is that the platinum for the Escalade? Did you guys go back to back and see what a platinum is, because it has all that weird stuff too?
Yeah, but GM still has
It's
like
GM, still GM.
It's still GM. Like they'll put leather on something, but then there'll be a cheap bit here and there. I mean,
yeah,
it was pretty much every surface was nice in that Lincoln. Now I'm sure it was over 100,000. I'm sure there was no price on it. That was a black label, top of the line one, but
right.
But yeah, it was very nice.
No, it's funny. I mean, Lincoln, they have all the right things, but they haven't been able to be successful. They've been struggling big time.
Mm-hmm.
A sports car, they can't afford it. If they want to be standalone, right? They can't afford a sports car because they're not selling their regular vehicles for some reason. And were you watching Autoline when they were saying, in LA, you're in that bubble of Orange County and stuff, and they don't see Lincolns over there, See BMWs, you see Cadillacs, you see everything but Lincolns. That tells you right there something's wrong, either marketing or whatever. They have something broken they got to figure out.
Well, one nice thing, and I'm very happy about, Lincoln is going back to names instead of the stupid.
They said
X
that too.
Yeah, I mean, it was they changed the MKX to the Nautilus. That's what they showed.
Stupid.
You didn't like the name?
No, it's a dumb name.
Well, it goes with their end themes: Navigator, Nautilus. I mean,
the Aviator. Remember the Aviator or whatever? It was the baby Navigator. Do they even still have that?
They don't have that anymore. But I mean, whatever the name, but I'm just glad they're going to names instead of X, and you could never keep them straight.
I couldn't keep them straight, right? MKZ, MXZ. I mean, I didn't know which one was the SUV, which one was what.
And guess what? Cadillac's going the opposite direction. It's so dumb. Like they're X. Everyone's like X whatever, XT5, XT4. Like they're like so behind. Like GM's always following instead of leading, and so they followed Lincoln to their naming convention. Now Lincoln's changing, and now the Cadillac's gonna have to change back to names. It's like, it's stupid. But I never liked any of those stupid number conventions, except BMWs and the Europeans that did it forever. That's fine, But
now I will say Lincoln was very nice, and they served us champagne and fruit. So hats off to you, Mr. Lincoln.
And they even had like a concert thing going. It was pretty nice. Yeah. They had a nice.
Well, you got to admit, even their displays at the regular car shows, the smaller ones, they're always nice. I mean, they have the room like set off. They're putting effort into it. I don't know. Obviously, it's not working, but it always looks nice. The Continental, I never answered your question, Marco. I mean, it's. You look at the design. I mean, the stupid door handles up high. I mean, what's luxury about it? And then the stupid sunroof that comes back and actually goes over the rear window, so you can't see out your rear window when your sunroof is open. It was just like one detail after another. Did not scream luxury. It screamed like they were just slapping it together.
Like the door handle. I agree with you on the sunroof thing. That is stupid, but the door handles I think are really cool because you don't see that in any other design. What
did you like about them? Just their uniqueness?
It's the seamless integration into the trim, right? It kind of looks like it's one piece, and the sensation actually of opening and closing. It's got the soft touch or auto closed doors, whatever you call those things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just different. Again, it's not a car I would buy.
But it didn't seem cheap. The styling didn't seem cheap to you. That door handle thing like that.
No.
Okay.
I didn't think so.
It is plastic. I think it's plastic, the door handle, so that's the part I didn't like. But
it's tough. I mean, when they're trying to do something like that, it's about a feeling, right? It's nothing that is written down. It's about how you feel getting in the car, and that's how I felt. I got in it, and then multiple things kept picking out things like those small details, and I'm like, how's this their flagship? It just. Anyway, we're getting behind on a couple questions.
Yeah. So JA says Cletus did the Pro Charge Stingray, which is also solid AD.
No!
I agree because the Stingray it has no forced induction to start with. So adding a Pro Charger makes sense. You don't have to change the hood. You can fit it well, and it gives you a nice boost in power. But
and the Stingray is well balanced too. To have a little extra power like that would sort of make it a little more fun. So I think that's pretty cool.
But to change out a Pro Charger for a supercharger, that I don't know if I'd do that. Matt says the new one will be available in a manual next year. He's talking about the Aston still.
Yeah. What's this next one? The 2K to 3K? I don't
That's the ZR1. Chevy said 2 to 3K a year. 3 to 4 years it will last. That is surprising. So it's 2019. So it's gonna go into like 2023. I don't know. It's possible if they keep the C7 rolling. I just don't understand how the plant is going to produce both models, because I heard the Bowling Green can only produce one. It's not a flexible plant, so they can only produce one model. That's what I've heard, but maybe with their whole renovation thing, they're going to be able to do that. Maybe all the C8s are going to be hand built.
That would be smart, actually.
And maybe they're going to be priced so high that it's going to be very small volume. I don't know. Let's see.
Or it could be the Cadillac. Hand-built Cadillac.
That's true too.
I just have this weird feeling it's something big with that, because they've invested so much in Cadillac performance, and what really happened. You know what I mean? They need some sort of flagship again, like the XLR. They really need that flagship stupid vehicle. Small volume. So it'll be interesting.
I think the Cadillac version is going to be hybrid.
Yeah, it has to, right? It has to. If you like it or not, it's going to have to keep up with the Spider and all the other stupid ones, right? Tom's favorite kind of vehicles using electrification.
No, don't get Tom started. Look, Matt says Lincoln needs a CTSV-like car. Yeah, Lincoln is not in the performance game at all. That's where Cadillac, is killing it in. So I'm kind of dissing Cadillac on the luxury side, but the performance side is awesome. I mean, they're killing it. Just nobody's buying cars anymore. They're buying SUVs, so that's why they're struggling. But they have some great performance cars, Cadillac. Kenny K says, I'm not old enough for Lincoln or Cadillac or Caddy. Sports cars are my preference, two-seaters. SSUTT, or Sean, also known as Sean, I'm going to ask you something. What is your opinion of the Lexus IS 500?
Oh,
is there an IS?
That thing looks glorious.
What do you mean IS? LC?
I think he's talking about the L. He must be talking about the LC 500.
Because that's the one that we saw up at the Cars and Coffee last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they had a blue one in LA. It was
okay.
really nice looking.
Is that definitely it? It's not IS? I don't know those.
If you want to do a quick search, but I haven't heard of an IS 500.
IS 500.
But anyway, the styling is definitely. Yeah, he wrote LC. He said, "Oops."
Yeah, no big deal. I don't remember those, so I was thinking I was wrong.
Yeah. So the styling is definitely futuristic, I would say.
I loved it. Remember when we were talking to the Lexus guy there?
Yeah.
He was really questioning us what we thought, and I absolutely loved it. The only thing I got him was the whole weight thing. He didn't know how to sort of answer the weight thing.
Right. It's not a sports car. It's a grand touring car.
There you
go. It's a very nice luxury coupe. But
Tom Gary, you said you saw that? You saw it at the show too?
It was on the turntable. I don't know if there was one to sit in, actually. But we didn't spend much time in Lexus, honestly.
Yeah, we didn't spend a whole lot of time, but yeah, you didn't have access to it. It was in a nice blue. It has such great looks. You know, that sharp styling from the front. The side profile is really nice. It's probably not worth the price, but I think it comes with a V8, so yeah, that's up my alley.
For
Yeah,
sure.
let me bring up a picture, actually. There we go. I got a picture up.
Okay.
Because I'm curious. I really like this car. I remember last year I really liked it in person. That come up?
Yep. Yeah, it's a cool looking car. I mean,
They didn't change it
it's
much.
big. It's a big
Yeah.
car. I'm more of a smaller car person, but I mean, it's probably not for me. But it's a cool, big luxury coupe. You know.
I think you nailed it by saying it's a proper Grand Tourer, right? And that's my kind of cars. I love that kind of car. That's why it probably resonated with me right out of the gate. Just looked like a good size coupe. Sharp. I mean, people can say what they want about Japanese styling and stuff like that, but it's real edgy. And I like the ridiculous grille. I like the front end, the multi-tiered headlights. I mean, it's a sharp car to me.
Definitely. Yeah, the V8 is quite heavy. It weighs 4,300 pounds.
I knew it was going to be over 4,000. That's
yeah.
crazy. Ah, jeez.
So
How much does it cost? Let's see.
it starts at 90, I think, and goes over 100.
Jeez.
So,
I'm cheap like that. Very few
Gary,
cars.
we're one and the same. We're one and the same. We like our Grand Tours. We like our cheap ass mentality. We like our V8s.
that is one cool thing. Yeah. Cool thing though, that nothing in the class has is a naturally aspirated V8. So Matt says the LC is like an S class coupe for the masses, and the S class would have a 6 or a turbocharged 8 twin turbo. So it's not going to sound good either, I don't think.
And I don't mind it being heavy, but really, is a car with those kind of dimensions need to be 4,300 pounds? I mean, okay, sound deadening and all that, but you don't want to make it so it sounds like an electric car on the inside. You got to hear some of the engine, you got to hear some stuff. So I don't know where that weight comes from. That's a lot of weight.
Right.
Holy hell. It wasn't that big. I mean, it was a nice size, but I wouldn't exactly call it big.
It's all the leather. It's all the luxury features. It all adds up.
What's up, Tom Gare?
I was going to say, there's a joke in there somewhere.
All right. We got to still talk about the Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, geez. We didn't get
we didn't even get to that. So, of course, they had a very nice press conference. They started off with the luxury model, Sahara, and then they brought up the Wrangler or the Rubicons on the ramps at the end. So it was pretty cool. Very nice vehicle. They made a lot of improvements.
I'm pulling it up, by the way, just so you know.
Okay, yeah, good. A couple things that are interesting about it. There's several engines, several powertrains. They're starting off with a 4-cylinder turbo, which old Jeeps had the 4-cylinder, so don't diss it because it's a 4-cylinder. It actually has more torque than the V6 offering. But one thing that's very interesting is the 4-cylinder turbo has an electric assist. So like off the line, before that turbo kicks in, it actually has an electric motor. They didn't say where. I don't know if it's like one of those generator type systems that GM used to do, like the alternator generator that just boosts it. They didn't say where the motor was, but it actually has an e-assist motor to help it off the line. So that was pretty wild. and that's going to be automatic only as well, 8-speed auto. The V6 is going to be the normal mainstream engine, I think, auto or manual, 6-speed manual. And then they're also going to have a diesel option, which is pretty cool. I think a lot of people would like that. I don't know what the pricing is going to be on it. I'm sure it's not going to be cheap to go with the diesel, but unfortunately, that's going to be auto only, 8-speed auto. So, but that's pretty exciting for a lot of people, I'm sure. And then the one that threw us for a loop, they're actually going to have an electric hybrid, full hybrid electric by 2020. It's probably going to be similar powertrain to the plug-in Pacifica. So, but they didn't really talk much about it. They just announced it. So we were kind of surprised about that. But as long as they're going to keep the old school gas engines and a manual transmission, I'm pretty happy with that.
Axles. Come on, car guy. They got to keep the axles. I don't care about an engine.
The axle. The 44 there in the rear for the Rubicon.
Right.
And I know that you have some opinions about this, and I'd love to hear them. The thing, though, I would say to you is reserve final judgment until you see it. Honestly, so Terry, I've owned a couple of different Wranglers over the years. I've had days, but I'm like you. I like the traditional Jeep. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that this is a they're bringing back a lot of the styling from the TJ. If you look at it from the front, it looks more like a TJ than it does a JK. The grill is not as pushed back. It's not it's not as raked. Everything that you can do and always have been able to do in a Jeep, you can still do in this new JL Wrangler, including folding the windshield down, which, Terry, I don't know if you've ever done it. I never did because it was such a royal pain in the ass. Yeah, but it actually made the windshield inside of another frame, so it's so much easier now to fold the windshield down. It's kind of hard to describe, but you'll see this, that you can fold, when you fold the windshield down, there's still a windshield frame remaining. So it's like an inner part of the windshield that actually folds down.
Right.
And it's cool because in the past you had to leave the roll, you had to actually disconnect the roll cage, the roll bar.
Yep.
And you also lost your rear view mirror. So the way this is done, you don't have to do any of that, and your rear view mirror stays in place. I thought they were very creative about it. The interior is fantastic. Obviously, it's not as utilitarian as the old Jeeps, but it still is. The doors can come off. You can still hose this thing down. I didn't lift the carpets out.
They do. Sure they do that. There's several top options. There's the standard soft top. There's the hard top like before with the removable sections. There's a power folding soft top, which is sort of like, I don't know if you remember the old Liberties had it as an option. It was just the flat portion of the roof. It just like folds up. There's probably not a picture in there, but that's another option. It's just like a piece of cloth.
Was that a hint?
Yeah, come on, change the pictures already. You had the same picture on the whole time. But no, and then there's 33-inch tires on the Rubicon. You can fit 35s with a 2-inch lift with the Mopar 2-inch lift.
I thought they said it just the way it sits, you could do 35s.
I mean, you might be able to do 35s the way it sits.
Because that's the way the JK was. You could do a 2-inch lift and put 35s. And you could technically put 35s under it, but yeah. Well, they definitely said that the wheel well clearing is easy for 35s, which that's where all the money is. So
Yeah, that one there, the picture is this. I think that's the standard soft top.
yeah, it is. I just changed it
So
because I want to hear you.
if you guys are familiar with the Wranglers of the past, they came out with a top called the Sunrider, where it kind of rolled back halfway or all the way. This is kind of a modern interpretation of that, where you kind of have like a hybrid hard top, but the very top of the roof is fabric, and it rolls back electrically. And it can roll back partially or all the way. I actually thought it was kind of cool. I don't know if I'd go with it, but you used to be able to do dual top options, so I'm sure that that's something that you could option down the road.
But anyway, the standard transfer cases and ratio, the rock 410s, the same. That's all the same. I don't know. What were your thoughts on it before we keep going here?
Yeah, so this is a very hot subject for me because I'm a pretty big Jeep fan. And as Tom Gear was saying, styling-wise, absolutely, I think they banged it. I mean, they just really knocked it out of the park. I really think so. I think they did a great job of modernizing it, but not taking away its aesthetics and its proper Jeep look. I mean, I remember I was watching some reviews, and one of the guys were like, you walked up and you looked at it, you just glanced over, and you still saw it was a Wrangler. And you're like, oh, wait, that's the new Wrangler. And that's exactly it. I love the modernizations. I love all that. I love how they're still staying pure with little design elements, and I love them adding, simple things like that top and the electronic top and stuff. But that's where it ends. At that point, then I start getting really negative. Number one is the interior. I really, really, really hate the interior. And it's not that it's not good looking and it's properly laid out. I love all that. The fact is, if you ever off-road a Wrangler, and that's what a Wrangler is supposed to be for, I still haven't cleaned out my TJ from the last Jeep Jamboree because I don't want to sit there with Q-tips. I got to sit there with Q-tips getting all the dirt out of these little crevices and weird things.
Well, that's even the TJ had that.
That's what I mean, and it got exponentially worse on the JK, and then now it's exponentially worse on the JL. So it's like 2 iterations farther. I mean, I look at some of these pictures, I'm like, I could not imagine cleaning something like this up. And and I'll tell you, this is what's funny about that is when you go to like these Jeep Jamborees and stuff like that, the old CJs, they don't have doors, they don't have tops, they don't have anything. And then it gets into the YJs, and they're maybe have some soft doors. These are the people how they're driving them. And then the TJs like me, I sort of keep the doors on sometimes, but I keep the top off because it's about how much do you want to deal with. And then it keeps going up. I guarantee you these JLs, they'll be on the trail, and they will be hard-topped, doors up, air conditioning on, and off-roading. And it just completely defeats the purpose. There's 17 other models to do that in. Go get a Cherokee. You know what I mean? That's where it starts to lose its thing. And they're trying to sell vehicles, and that's what they're doing. And there's so many other things like that just sort of bothers me. That's all.
No, I think those are fair points, Terry. The one thing
styling is beautiful, though, Tom. I completely agree with you. I think it's a gorgeous vehicle. I don't like the use of aluminum panels and things like that. I guess they have to, but where they chose to use them, I mean, you're seriously going to put fender flares?
No,
I mean,
fender flares are not aluminum. The doors are aluminum.
No, the fender flares are.
No, the fender flares are like a composite.
That's not what they said.
Yeah. And the doors are aluminum, the hood's aluminum.
Actually, remember the hood actually felt like a composite.
Yeah, the hood's been aluminum since the last one, which is fine.
And the tailgate's magnesium or something, or titanium.
Yeah, magnesium frame with aluminum outside, which, that's fine. That's all fine. But then, my fear is them keep doing these creature comforts, and they're like, it's the best riding Jeep Wrangler ever. Well, why? Because it's just a law of physics. You're going to lose something else. And each time, And I know CarGuy doesn't believe me, but when we were on the trails, all the freaking JKs were stuck. All the Rubicons were constantly getting stuck. And here's my piece of crap just pulling them out and just trugging through it. And they had bigger tires. They had lockers front and rear. You know, it's their suspension geometry. They screw with it so much.
And one thing is an issue is the size.
And they're huge.
Yeah, the TJs were definitely narrower, smaller, and they're getting out of hand with the width and length now. Even the two-door, I think, grew. I mean,
there were so many trails the last time I went to Jeep Jamboree that the JKs had to go around just because of the width alone. They couldn't fit. And now it's even bigger. I mean, granted, those things are great for somebody that wants to drive it to work every day and act like they go off-roading. But that's what I was hoping, that the Wrangler would never go down. But I want them to have that available. It'd be nice to just keep that base Jeep Wrangler, right?
They do have a base. The base Sport has
it's so big.
Oh yeah, right. The size is not changing, but it doesn't have anything like no power windows, no, you know, it's very base.
And that's cool. Yeah. I got to give them credit for that. But
anybody in the comments have anything to say about the Jeep? I'm surprised no one's talking about the Jeep yet. But
just to go back on the whole waterproofing thing, the one thing I'm sure there's no photos of, or probably hard to find photos, is you know, if you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but you know how they always had like the vinyl or the cover that went underneath the steering column to help protect it from getting water and debris and stuff in there.
Yeah.
They really reinforced that with the JL. I noticed that right away. It's like a big rubbery bag protecting all of that underneath. And you're right, like in the vents and stuff, it is hard to keep that stuff clean.
Think about this, Tom, real quick, is one thing that was neat about even the TJ, and TJ was like the last one that allowed this, you could keep the top off, keep the doors off, and let it rain on the car. You mean to tell me that dashboard's going to handle that rain? And you guys saw it in person, so you tell me. Do you think you could just get rained on?
It may, because like I know where around the entertainment screen, it's rubber. It's like almost sealed. I don't know about the dashboard itself, but like where the touchscreen is, it was all like surrounded in rubber, and the base model doesn't even have a touchscreen. But yeah, I mean, supposedly you're still going to be able to rinse out the interior. It has the drains in the floor and stuff, but I don't know if you'd want to, but.
No, it's yeah, but the styling, I can definitely jump on board. I'm very happy they didn't screw with that, and I'm very happy, like I said earlier, the axles. I don't want to be Mr. Negative Nancy.
Yep, they kept the same.
They kept the axles, which is a big part of off-roading. I mean, I was deathly afraid of them doing independent front. You know, every iteration, all Jeep guys get crazy about that, but yeah, it'd be neat if the base model was a little bit different dimensions and stuff, and they can't afford to do that, I guess, but I wish it was just more hardcore base model sport, you know, V6, dimensions were smaller, everything, and then they can call it the Unlimited. They can do whatever and do whatever kind of dimensional changes they want, and add all the foo-foo stuff that all these grocery getters want to get, and it would be great. And that's my only gripe. Tom Gear, about that front folding windshield, I love that. CarGuy and I talked about it briefly, I think in text message, and he wasn't too on board with that idea, but I actually folded down my window on multiple Jeeps I've had, and it's not only a pain, but it's just weird. I mean, it just,
I think it's, I don't know how many people use that feature. I mean, maybe they do, and that's why they had to keep it.
I think they don't, because of the fact that it's so tough. It's a pain in the ass. It's like 20 bolts, pulling out the crossbars and everything, and then it's like, oh God, I got to put it all back again.
Right, but the goofy thing is,
part of the conversation, my damn computer went to sleep. So
the goofy part about the new one, it still has the frame around it. So like,
that's good.
All you're doing is taking the window off.
And that was that's what's so great. It feels like you're on a motorcycle. It feels like with the air in your face and just it feels like you're there.
The thing I was gonna say is, you know, I used to off-road a lot when I had my Jeeps. I did off-road one time with no doors, no top, and that was the worst thing I had ever done to my Jeep. It was a fantastic experience.
Right?
I had a huge smile on my face. I remember rolling through a river and this waterfall of muddy water comes up and then down. And I had my carpets out, and I had the vinyl interior, and that part wasn't a big deal. But the issue was actually what I did afterwards. I went through a freaking car wash, and I literally, with a pressure hose, sprayed the whole thing inside and out, pulled the drain plugs. I had electrical issues for 3 days. Not to mention I was cold, dirty. You know, I had a huge smile on my face. But you know what? Having done off-roading quite a bit, I would much rather be, especially in the wintertime, which is when I off-roaded the most.
Yeah.
TJs would fit on pretty much the same trails as a quad, except I'm in a nice enclosed, comfy, warm, dry place, and I can listen to music at the same time. I don't want, personally, for me, to have the whole exposed experience. If I want to be exposed, I'll just go and get a quad or a side-by-side.
Well, exactly, and that's the fun thing is I owned the old Cherokee, the XJ, and my white one, and that was, I joked around, that was my Cadillac off-roader. It had 33s, mild lift, and it could go anywhere, did everything, but it was like I had air conditioning. This was before I owned the TJ, right? So like I was comparing it to my CJ5, and it was like, this thing's great, but that's fine. Let it be another model because, you know, did I buy other vehicles like that? Like the new Cherokee is sort of similar like that. It does good. It does great. I saw the Jeep, you know, at the Jeep Jamboree, they beat the hell out of that thing. It did really well. But, you know, I sort of like that rougher bullshit thing like you're saying, Tom. You know what I mean? Because you don't do it very often, although I still haven't cleaned mine up from the last time I went. But
it's all about the experience, and
right.
If you're okay with having it muddy, you know, there's some owners that they never put their top on. They just buy one of those covers just to cover up the cab when it's parked. And at that point, it's just a utilitarian vehicle, which is what it originally was. For me, especially at that point in time, that was my only vehicle, by the way. That was my first Jeep. It literally was my only vehicle. I off-road. I had the thing airborne, you know. So, yeah, I was introducing a lot of risk by off-roading it, period, let alone off-roading with everything exposed.
Right.
I get what you're saying. And you don't want to get that brand new, pretty painted dash.
Yeah, who's gonna off-road it? I won't. I can do that. I'm not going to pick up that car.
For the record, I am very interested in the JL. I want to see what it's priced at. Yeah. Marco knows I'm not afraid of getting a vehicle dirty and beat a vehicle up. I'm not going to move every twig out of the way like he does when he off-roads his Fiat. It always happens once or twice. You know, I would definitely take a JL off-road. And by the way, you did make a comment about JK's getting stuck. And Marco was with me to actually witness this. I off-roaded my Jeep a couple of years ago, and he came with. This guy sank an additional $45,000 into his Rubicon. I mean, he had everything under the sun bolted to this thing, and he got stuck. And I remember my dad. We were following him because we went through this raging river. We went to this really ruddy area, and my dad's like, "Oh my God, I don't know if we could do this." My dad's in the back seat. And the guy in front of us told me to follow him because he wanted to pick the path. Because I didn't have any lockers. All I had was a standard Sahara. He gets stuck, and my dad behind me goes, "Oh my God, what, you know, he got stuck. We're never going to be able to get through." I got through, no issues whatsoever. And I only had 31s, all-terrain tires. He had 35s, mud terrain, lift, lockers, sway bar disconnects. I had everything of that he didn't have, you know, and I still had no issues. I mean, it was just unbelievable. So I definitely relate to that.
Yeah. And that's my fear, right? Is it going to get lost even more? You know what I mean? Here's a guy with a Rubicon, like you're saying, and yeah, I mean, with all that money on top of it onto a Rubicon, and what the heck, what's this new one going to be like? So, anyway, I think we lost a lot of viewers because of the whole Jeep discussion.
No, we're also competing with The Walking Dead, and
that's why everyone's leaving. Okay, yeah. But a couple, just to finish up, a couple questions Sean had. He wants to know, what do you guys think of the Infiniti Q60 Red Sport? I'm not a fan of the Infinitis right now because of their steering is drive-by-wire, and yeah, so I'm not a fan of any of them. They're not like the sporty cars they used to be. So the newer ones are kind of they're trying to get into the autonomous side, I think, and they're not really sporty anymore.
I'm gonna enjoy my United pretzels that I haven't eaten yet.
You didn't eat them yet? Jeez. And then Sean also asked, what about the new Ram Cummins? So I don't know.
I'd rather be coming than stroking.
I don't know much about it, actually.
Well, you had a Ram, and remember we saw it in Chicago, the Power Wagon.
Yeah. You said the Cummins.
Oh, well, it was the Cummins. Oh, that one did not have the Cummins, right? But I mean, I think I think they're pretty cool. I mean, the Ram.
What about them in general? Like I thought it was a. Okay, I thought it was a new one that I didn't see yet. No,
it wasn't anything new.
No, it was great because, you know, it was always funny. A quick diesel talk is, you know, you have the Ford versus Dodge guys, right? And obviously GM too. So GM, their diesel was always shit. And I know that's going to piss off a lot of GM guys, but their diesel engine was always garbage. But then they always had the Allison transmission, and which was phenomenal, right? And then you look at Dodge. Dodge had a terrible transmission, their own, but they had the Cummins, which was an awesome. Well, it was designed by Cummins. It wasn't. It's not built by them. It's built like from Detroit Diesel or something. But still, it's their design, which was an awesome design. So it's like nobody ever had like the full package. Well, over the years, the Dodge really improved their transmission. That was the weak link, and so now the newer Cummins and stuff, they're fine.
Well, yeah, Allison transmissions, I thought.
Chevy has the Allison.
Chevy has the Allison, but Tom Gear is right. I think they partner with Allison also. I swear that rings a bell. Yeah, it sounds very, very familiar, actually. I don't know. But they situated, fixed the situation, basically. And if they could just keep the vehicles from rusting out, I don't know of any Ram that's a couple years old that doesn't have like a rotted out bed for some reason.
There is I'm very passionate about this. There is a reason why Dodge and Ram no longer exist. When you have to change your brand, that means your brand is bad. Right?
Okay.
Dodge and Ram is synonymous with dashboards that explode. I mean, fall apart like the old plastic dashboards literally would shatter and explode in 9 pieces. They had the major rust, especially around the tailgate and the rockers.
Yep.
Very dodgy. Yeah.
Very dodgy.
Very dodgy.
Pun intended.
Plus, who likes the sound of rocks in a blender? Because the diesel motor sounds like. So we should probably talk about Porsche real quick, because before we lose everybody.
Yeah, no, I don't know too much about that new Carrera T, but they're calling it the grassroots kind of.
It's a base
911.
Base 911 it has some sport options, or not options. It's standard. Just some of the sport options are standard. It's the lightest one, but we sat in it. It's space. I mean, the dash, no leather on the dash. There's no door handles. Yeah. But it's still over 100,000. So, and it saves like 11 pounds, I think, over the normal 911. So
Porsche experience was kind of cool because you normally don't get to sit in Porsches in an auto show. So we kind of had unique access. We got to play with everything for the most part. the new cars we couldn't sit in the day we wanted to sit in them. We don't know why.
That was the GTS Cayman and Boxster.
Yeah. I was very impressed by the Macan. I thought the Macan was awesome.
All right, Sean, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the comments and everything. Let's see. Yeah, we are losing people. So
I brought up the pictures there. If you want to, I'd like to talk to you guys about it because I didn't really learn. I didn't read anything about it. I know nothing about it. The only thing I read very briefly is people were like, it's like a more down to earth 911 again, and blah blah blah.
It's a trim. So like, it's cloth seats, which actually they charge more for, I think, and when you option one out. But
it looks stripped though. I mean, I'm looking at the steering wheel has nothing.
Yeah, and it does have the radio in the U.S. That's the European photo. Does not have the radio.
Oh.
It's still 100,000. They start at 90, so it's like it's a base 911 with some sporty options included. Like it has the sports seats. It has the I think the vectoring differential and all that. It has like it's almost like a GTS for the base model. Like the GTS is for the 911S. This is the 911 base version of the GTS, if you want to call it that. So again, it's not super special in my opinion. It's just a trim.
So Tom Gear, what do you think? You're the big Porsche guy. You know probably more than both of us. What was your thoughts on it?
I think it's overpriced. And quite honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it because I wouldn't spend that kind of money. I think if you're spending $100,000 on the car, you're nuts.
Yeah. Well, it's a 911 though.
I'd love to have a 911, just not that one. We sat in a couple 911s, and they had the I don't know what the hell would you call them, competition seats.
The bucket seats. They were.
Oh my god, they were so uncomfortable.
Yeah, especially to get out of them. And there's not many adjustments. It's just fore and aft, and yeah, I would not get those seats. But
we did, however, rent a Cayman, which was a really great experience.
Yeah, I love the Cayman.
Yeah, it was a manual, handled great. Was not the fastest thing in the world.
Wait, how the hell did you get a manual?
Oh, I got my ways, Terry. I got my ways. I found a guy.
I got a guy.
It was a 2014.
But you know what? Let's talk about this offline because we only have 4 viewers left. So,
but they might watch. People might watch later though.
And well, there'll be a video later. Put it that way, of the Cayman and our drive through the canyon. So
did you get some good video?
Stay tuned for that. Yes.
Yeah, Terry, I have a proposition for you. We'll take it offline.
Okay.
All right, guys. Again, thanks for watching. You can leave more comments of the LA Auto Show and your opinions on the ZR1 and Wrangler below. We'll definitely get back to you on the comments. Again, subscribe if you haven't. Enjoyed this one. We went over an hour here, almost an hour and a half, so it was a good one. Remember, you can also listen to it on podcast on iTunes. So, all right, guys, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.